Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and welcome back to Draft Day Sports College Basketball. This is episode 47. Before we get into the series, quick announcement that my next Draft Day Sports, my next Wolverine Studios release, and totally out of order from what it's been in past years, is College Football 23. In fact, it's the first of the 23 lineup, and that's coming out here in just a few weeks. So that will be coming to the channel quite soon. And I'm really excited by what I'm bringing with that series. More details on that to come later. But let's go ahead and get to this one. In the meantime, we are in the midst of our sixth straight 20-win season. Yes, we have managed to do that 6 years in a row after the initial 3 years where we went backwards. We had those below 500 records before we pieced things together, got the right players coming in, transfer portal primarily, and have started building, a winner from there. 27-6, 22-10, 23-6, 27-8, 21-9 a year ago, 21-6 right now as we enter the first round of the conference tournament. Turned out like this: James Madison holding off New Orleans, Dartmouth with the upset over Binghamton, Northern Colorado holding off Southeastern Louisiana, and Stanford can't quite get the upset over Texas San Antonio. So only one upset, that is Dartmouth. For us, we get Texas San Antonio in the second round, so they are 11-17. That's going to make us pretty heavy favorites for this round, and we're going to go ahead and take our chances that we are able to knock off Texas San Antonio here without playing it live. And we do 81-55. Oof, blowout fashion. In the other games, Northern Kentucky get the win. Dartmouth with their second straight upset, knocking off Presbyterian. Also, James Madison with the upset over Citadel increases our chances. Now, Northern Kentucky, the only other top 4 seed remaining in this tournament as we enter the semifinals. In terms of best performances on the day, it wasn't our guys. It was definitely by committee that we managed to get the scoring. Same with assists. Same with rebounds. Barry Houston did get up there in steals with 5 steals on the day, and Rick Alexander with 3 blocks. So we had a couple key defensive metrics, which I suppose tracks with the 55 points we gave up. And looking at all the other scores, 81 actually put us 6th out of 8 teams on the day in terms of offensive production. We just dominated the defensive end and cruised, and score by committee, it looks like, on the offensive end. So it is James Madison. James Madison, I want to say, is the team that knocked us off last year and went on and took the conference title a level below. I may be wrong on that, but if memory serves me correctly, that was the case. However, this season, just 17-13, not getting an automatic qualifier. Their only path through right now is through us and through either Northern Kentucky or Dartmouth. And Northern Kentucky only 15-13 overall, and Dartmouth just 14-15. Looks like a pretty easy matchup. The James Madison one actually appears to be a little bit on the harder side, though at 22-6, I think we are probably headed to the NCAA tournament, win or lose conference title. Probably. Net ranking just high enough, but not necessarily. So there are still things at play, but I do think we're going to do enough to qualify. Let's hope that at this point we've got 2 games that we should be cruising through to claim the conference title. Taking our chances here with the quick sim. 81-69. I was holding my breath there for a minute just in case, because I think James Madison was the most likely to actually offer up a challenge. And after that 81-69 victory, Dartmouth knocks off Northern Kentucky. 3 straight upsets for them, and they are into the championship game and with a chance at promotion. 81-69 for us, 89-67 for them. So actually an even better scoreline than what we put together. Houston had 17. Alexander had 15 points on the day. No high in assists. Nothing higher than 4 anyway. Dominated the rebounds. Alexander and Lindquist combining for 20. 3 steals for Houston, 3 blocks for Lindquist. Rebounds looks to be where we dominated that game, just from the day's best performances anyway. Conference championship game underway. I'm going to actually speed time up on this one when I get an opportunity, as we're going to intentionally kind of fly through. Similar colors for the two teams. It's going to make it a little bit harder to decide, but we are the ones with the neon interior, where they have the white font on theirs. We have the neon font. And we're going to go fast. There we go. So 2-0 lead early on, already strong defensively. It took them 3 minutes to get a field goal. However, our offense has been just as quiet as theirs, waking up a little bit here in the 5th minute. But 5 minutes played, 6 minutes played, they still have just 2 points. Total defensive masterpiece, 7 minutes played, still just 2 points. They finally score in the 8th minute, their 4th point of the game, and we still only sit on 12 ourselves. So our offense, not that great this year. We've definitely noticed that, but our defense continues to be strong. I think our first round opponent, depending on who it is, what they provide, could be a real challenge for us, as our offense just isn't quite there this year. But defense, at least at this level, is enough to dominate many of our opponents most days. Hyde already has 11 points, 4 rebounds as the leading performer. Houston has 5 points, just coming back on. I really like to shake things up in the first half, diversify the minutes. Dartmouth has warmed up, actually, significantly, as they were scoring in droves there for a little bit, and have cut the gap to 5 as we approach halftime. We make our own little run there in the final minute, and we finish the half 38-29. Not quite cruise mode. Lindquist 0 for 5, really not helping us. Houston 2 for 8, not helping us, but otherwise everybody seems to be performing relatively well. Let's get into the second half. Three-pointer there after giving up the initial possession as a bucket. Good response, and we are at double-digit lead for the first time since the very beginning of the game. I guess it wouldn't have been the very beginning. We were, 8 minutes in before they really started scoring, but roughly the midway point of the first half, after they had that bit of a run. Three-pointer there, put us back up by 11, back into the double digits. In terms of rebounds, we are +3. Amazingly, we're not dominating here. Turnovers is only +3. We're only 38% from the field, while they are 40% from the field. No wonder they're keeping it close. Free throws, fairly similar. And three-pointers, neither team doing fantastic by any stretch of the imagination, but 5 for 12 is good enough for actually NBA standard, 42%. Actually, I think that's better than NBA standard. That's Damian Lillard standard. 60-52 with 4 minutes to play. We might want to slow things down just a little bit. 3 minutes to play now, 10-point lead. As long as they don't suddenly close that gap like they just did a little bit. 6-point game all of a sudden with 2.5 to play. If they score here, we will definitely use a timeout. They did not, but then they got the turnover and turned it into a fast break bucket. And back-to-back, now it's a 2-point game, and they steal the inbounds. Oh, my goodness. Use another timeout, 50 seconds. And 1 remaining. Three-pointer. Why? You have the 2-point lead. You had, as far as I could tell, we had plenty of shot clock left. And then we pull up for a contested 3. Oh, we stole their inbounds. 3-point lead, 15 seconds, and we could not convert. And they tie the game! Oh, come on. Overtime. We go from totally comfortable to really desperately trying to give the game away. The players wide open at the block and can't score. Had 3 chances at the block, and we came away with 0 points. And now they lead. We are literally just giving this game away. Multiple timeouts, did absolutely nothing. What is going on? I mean, it's the right players out there. They're not shooting well. Alexander 1 for 7. We were 1 for 6 or 0 for 6. 22 of 66 from the field. We are completely dominating, but we can't hit a shot. Other than the three-pointers that we have hit a few, and we just nailed one to get back within one. As, like I said, we are just desperately trying to give this game away because we cannot hit a shot, even uncontested, wide open, close range. And Alex Rice drains that one. Bench player coming up big for us on that one. 2 minutes to go here in overtime. 2-point lead with some momentum. Can we make a shot? No. No, we cannot. Dead ball situation. Some sort of offensive turnover. You would think travel or something along those lines. Alexander scores on that occasion, and we lead by 4. But they answer immediately with a big three-pointer to cut the gap to 1, and then we throw the ball to the defender, and they quickly go down to the other end and convert within a few seconds, and it's 78-77. Not quite a fast break point, but quite close to it. And we missed that opportunity. We are going to need to use the timeout here. 30 seconds. I used the fucking timeout! Come on, game. Now it's 80-77. We didn't get that timeout in when we needed it. And so we do convert out of this 30-second timeout, but it only cut that gap back to 1. We run out of time, and we lose. Dartmouth claims the win. We completely threw it away there late in the fourth. Multiple timeouts, did nothing. Of course, I didn't fully change tactics by any stretch because we were in cruise mode, because we were up 10. The team, 35% from the field, gave the game away. I mean, they made 4 shots out of their last probably 20 in that game. Wow. Gave away that one. That's frustrating because, I mean, it was comfortable. It was in the bag. And while I didn't adjust everything, I mean, I tried to halt the momentum with the timeouts, and the team just was like, no, screw you. I don't like to shoot. Well, I like to shoot, but I just don't like to, that thing, that round thing. What do you call that? The net. Yeah, I want to shoot it through the net. Oh, no, that's not where it goes? Oh, my bad. Oh, right. We got 30 seconds left in the shot clock. Less than a minute left in the game. We've got the lead, and I want to pull up for a hotly contested three-pointer when we're not shooting well. If strangling was an option, this would have been the click the button to strangle and throw the chair, get ejected, whatever it takes to wake the team up, even if it means the assistant coach has to finish off the game. Pitiful performance. And we had it in the bag in overtime too. Well, we didn't have it in the bag, but the moment we inbounded the ball, I clicked the button, and then we turned it over at the other end without it initiating that. Really frustrating on that one. I knew that was your take a timeout moment. Come on. And that was with pace slowed down too. I mean, that was not sped up, and it did not acknowledge it, didn't take it. Still, can't blame that one missed click on the result. I mean, 10-point lead with 2 minutes to go in the game, and multiple timeouts not righting the wrongs of just utter collapse in on itself. We just went all black hole on that one. No conference title, which means we're not guaranteed a trip to the NCAA tournament. Dartmouth is, and they also pick up that 4th promotion spot. I'm going to go with the assumption that we've done enough to get in. Certainly not guaranteed, but I think our record this year suggests probably about a 13 seed, maybe a 12, maybe a 14. So somewhere between 12 and 14, but I would think most likely is a 13. Dartmouth gets the play-in game. No surprise by that, just 16 and 15. Low-level surprise conference winner, not even a top 4 seed in the conference tournament. And we get a play-in game that is for an 11 seed, so actually a little bit higher, but we're going to have to do the play-in game with Western Carolina as our opponent. We'll see which play-in network they put us into. Wow, North Carolina State with a 1 seed. Okay, that's a first. It's a 12 seed. It's going to be a 12 seed. USC and Oregon State, the other one in the Detroit, so we'll be in, looks like the final grouping. Georgetown, the third 1 seed. Gonzaga was the first, by the way. It looks like we'll be in this regional because we did not see a 16 play-in. And yes, there it is. The 5 seed is Florida State. So we get a 12 seed with the play-in, Western Carolina. We'll have to beat them to get then Florida State at 21-9 overall and a 5 seed in the first round. Final 1 seed goes to Omaha. Real surprise there, especially when they are only number 7 in the country. And Dartmouth is the play-in one for that one. One of the things that is so easy for us to forget about is that you don't have all the best teams in the country spread out among not only a Power 5, but among, 8 to 10 conferences like you have in college basketball. All those best teams are all in Conference A or Conference B or maybe Conference C at the worst. The best teams are at the top end because we have this tiered system, unlike real life where it's spread out a bit more. So in real life, if you have 8 conferences and you have 20 power teams, most of those 20 power teams, probably 18 or 19 of them, are going to qualify for the NCAA tournament each and every season, with only 1 or 2 surprises that miss out. And then your next tier of teams, that 20 through say 40th best teams in the country, they're not going to qualify every year, but you're still going to get probably at least half of those teams qualifying, if not 3/4 of them qualifying on a yearly basis. Some of those teams are going to be in the same conference. Like, let's just throw Pac-12 out there. I know it's not the best conference, though it's got plenty of basketball championships through the years. Plenty. Including number 1. The first NCAA championship was won by the Oregon Webfoots. The Pac-12, if you have, say, 3 teams that dominate one given year, UCLA, Arizona, they're perennial top teams. But then what? You have USC, occasionally you have Oregon State, you definitely have Oregon in the mix, you always have Washington in the mix, occasionally a Washington State. Stanford and Cal haven't featured too much in basketball, but looking at this one, look, there's Stanford right there. You will typically have 4 or 5 teams out of the Pac-12 make the tournament in a given year. So where you have that elite class, those couple teams that are going to make it pretty much every year, there's a half a dozen teams that fall into that next category of, they're easily one of the, say, 50 best teams in the country. Stanford, great example on that one. They're probably somewhere right around that 50th best team in the country in any given year in basketball. But they don't qualify for the tournament terribly often because they're in a conference where there's only X amount of spots, and they're generally somewhere down around 7th or 8th in the conference. Point being is there's a lot of really good teams, probably a good 20 every year, that miss out on the tournament because of the way we have this tiered system. Those 20 spots go somewhere, somehow. We are often picking up one of those spots. Small conference team dominating, but then there's other small conference teams that also got into the tournament in other years wouldn't qualify. And we're able to go head to head with quite a few of those teams a little more successfully than we would against a field full of the actual best teams. A team that had a 14-2 conference record from Conference N, so they are a little bit above us, but certainly not far. What is that, 3 tiers above us? They did play on the road at Nashville, who was then ranked number 4 in the country, and only lost by 5. They seem to have the small forward matchup, which is seen as their best player, David Booker. 11.5 points a game, 5 rebounds a game. Not overwhelming stats by any stretch of the imagination. And Doug Hyde is definitely not our top guy, but we do seem to have the better backcourt. We seem to have the advantage at power forward. So I think there's a pretty decent chance that we can get through. Our defense appears to be a little bit better, but their offense definitely appears to be better. There's no surprise on that. Our offense has been less than stellar this season. Rebounding, +3 advantage, a little bit of tiny advantage in the other key stats, and similar on the turnovers. This thing could go either way. According to the scouting report, it is just barely our game for the taking. And, based on the very, very similar records, yeah, I think this thing could go either way. We are not guaranteed to hit that first round and see Florida State in this at all. Our life in this tournament is definitely not yet secure, as this is technically the play-in round. We're in the tournament, but the tournament kind of begins at the first round. So, big opportunity, not an easy game. We do strike first, though. We have an offense that has gone completely absent at times this season. Let's hope today is not one of those days. Otherwise, we very much face the risk. This is a much tougher opponent than what we just played. Yeah, but our defense is clearly starting strong with two back-to-back quick turnovers forced there, 2 steals, and we turned both of those into points. So 4 points off of those 2 steals, and it's a 10-2 lead. And you can see all those stoppages and all those turnovers that we are creating at the moment. We definitely have the better defense. Numbers might have been similar through the year, but it is clear that our defense is a more difficult defense than what theirs is, especially because we're kind of scoring at ease. 3-pointer there to cut into the gap a little bit, as we had already had a 10-point lead, and similar to the last game, 6 minutes in before they had exceeded 2 points. But back to back plays, and we've got ourselves a 4-point game. 2 3-pointers and a 2, and they're right back in the game. And that is the one area where our defense has been weak this year, is allowing quick runs like we had at the end of that last game. But we've seen that on multiple occasions this season, unlike previous seasons, where teams can get a whole slew of points in a matter of seconds. 18-12, still faring well at this stage, but definitely not the hot start that we had. It's settled in, and they definitely have a bit of the momentum right now, but a big 3-pointer there from Houston? No. Lindquist with the 3-pointer on that one. Nice. 24-18. 26-18. Bit of a long-range 2 there. 28-18. Back to a 10-point game. So after they had cut into that and picked up some momentum with those 7 very quick points and had slowly cut into it from there, we've now slowly stretched it back out, and it's 31-18 after a Barry Houston 3-pointer. Shooting much better as we nail another 3. That's our 3rd of the game. Eric Reid this time with this one. We've happened to catch all 3 of those thus far. It's 34-26. Western Carolina not going quietly, though. For every big play that we're making right now, we have no momentum to speak of, and actually the lead is less than what it was. Looked like we had a steal there, but we get called for something, maybe a kickball, I don't know. But we eventually do get the turnover and then fail to convert on the attempted fast break. 36-28, slower possession here. From the elbow, fouled, free throw line, make both, got to 10, and then they go and train a 3. Same point that I was making. Fast break turnover, layup that time, and it's 40-31. Giving up the offensive rebound and put back at close range and losing possession, yet somehow gaining momentum. Not sure how that one happened. And they cut into the lead, but big one there. And Barry Houston, it was a 3. I thought it was. Houston's got 13. He's shooting 5 of 7. Not having the shooting woes of our last game at the moment, anyway. At least not Houston. Houston really struggled in that last game and had fouled out, by the way. He had 5 fouls, so he did not see the end of that game. Here, he's got 15 points already in the first half. Or not. I was going to use that timeout with about 6 seconds left. Didn't get it in. 47-37 halftime score. Yeah, Houston, huge. Lindquist, also big first half. 4 for 7 for him with that big three-pointer. Alexander's got 5 rebounds. Cooper's got a few assists. Reid has a few assists and a few turnovers. Not having his greatest day, but not having his worst day either. Cooper himself also has a couple turnovers, so point guard's just not taking care of the ball particularly well. Bit of a weak spot for us this year. 10-point advantage entering the second half. We've been there, done that, and not seen it through. Let's see if this team can see things through a bit better. But, of course, there's still an entire half to play, and 10 points, well, that's not that big of a cushion until you get down to the final, 2 minutes. Then that's a pretty big cushion. 8-point game, convert that close range 2 there, and put us back in a good spot until they went and made that 3-pointer. Turnover. Did we convert? Williamson had the dunk. Okay. So we did get the quick 2 with the transition dunk. I wasn't sure what quite had happened on that one, but in the meantime, they went and did some scoring of their own. We've got a 7-point game. Get the defensive stop that time. Elbow, miss. And they convert that long range 2. Miss the 3. We've got ourselves a 5-point game. Thinking about a timeout, but it's awfully early in the half to use one. Glad I didn't. Eric Reid with a 3-pointer to help pick up the momentum, though game's gone a little ice cold, converting the close range 2. The layup there for Rice brought the lead back up, but then they do it again. Every time we start to get something going, they get a key 3. 6 for 16 for them, 5 for 16 for us. 3-pointer has been a huge part to this game. Both teams with fairly similar shooting numbers, but we just put together a couple quick buckets. And we put together a couple quick buckets, yet they closed the gap. Not quite sure how we make a couple of buckets. They don't. And all of a sudden it's a 4-point game. What did I miss in that 5 seconds? That was in. He misses the shot. Okay, Williamson missed that shot. Sure looked like that was a make. No points tallied on. Getting a little confused. And another miss. We have the momentum somehow, though, because we had those last makes. And we're getting good defensive stops, but we just... Offense, ice cold. And settling for a long contested 3. Results in the miss. Commit the foul. Makes 1 of 2. Booker does. 9 minutes to go. Somehow still have the momentum. I don't feel like we have any momentum, and I'd very much like to use a timeout, but we apparently still have it. 8 minutes to play here in this game. Purvis with the long range 2. That's a big one. Another foul, but fortunately just 1 of 2 again from the line. The bad turnover and the transition layup. Transition dunk. 2-point game. And now they do have the momentum and the tie. 30-second timeout. Let's talk about it. Kill that momentum. We've neutralized that. We finally feed the ball inside. They are defending really well, and we keep settling for long-range contested shots right now that we are not making. This offense is not creating quality chances by any stretch of the imagination. That one's well defended, but they get the offensive rebound. We stop the shot, but foul him, and they have their first lead of the game? Yes, their first lead of the game with just under 6 minutes to play. And we take another contested 3 from the corner. Really tired of seeing that same shot. Now we're not even running an offense, so that's not going to help us much. They're playing a man-to-man, and nobody's getting free. Nobody's setting screens for anybody. and we eventually turned the ball over. But fortunately, as soon as they inbounded, the pressure maybe forced the travel. Would look like that was what that type of scenario was. Get the defensive stop, running the high post this time, and settle for the long range 3, but get fouled after missing. Convert 2 out of 3 to tie the game. Hucks goes down to the other end, gets his 10th point though. We go to the free throw line again and miss both free throws. Awesome. Chance to tie. 3 minutes to go in the game, and you're going to miss both free throws? Yeah, this team's just not clutch. Not clutch. Williamson with the 3, the same guy that had missed, and it was an and 1. He got a 4-point play on that. So, made up for his big miss there, and we converted on the next possession as well. And Lindquist there, now with 13, and it's a 4-point game. Just as I call them out for not being clutch, we now have some momentum, and we had 7 straight points before Booker, now with 18, 2 minutes to play. Slow down a little bit more here. Last 2 minutes, they foul us. Convert both. Lindquist now on 15 points. Houston has 18, has not done anything really since the first half. Did he have 16 points at halftime, or did he have 18? 4-point game, minute and a half to play. They're not running an offense, and yet they still manage to find a basket. 2-point game. Go for the long range 3, and it's Eric Reid, and he nails it. 15 points for him now. Huge bucket. 5-point game. 1 minute to play. Quick foul. Houston, 20 points now. 80-73. Thomas with the 3, though. Clutch 3. Quick foul. 82-76. We get both. So they only cut into the lead by 1. With the miss there, Alexander with the rebound. Chance to seal it. Makes both free throws? Yes, he does. Pushes up to an 8-point game, and then we foul him. Really? But he missed both. Or did he? No. He made both, we made both. Okay, score stays the same. Oh, okay, we did not collapse this time. Came out strong at the end. 86-78 final. -1 on the rebounds. Turnovers. Terrible for both teams. We had 18 steals. So our defense forcing a ton of turnovers. They had 9 steals and 2 blocks. Not a terrible day, but we had 21 turnovers. And I would venture to say that my point guards have had something to do with that. As we saw at halftime, they both had quite a few turnovers. They do not take care of the ball very well. I think they throw it away on a pretty regular basis. Both teams at 50%. Free throws, we actually had an advantage for once. Both teams making 7 threes in the game. Them with a little bit better. Williamson just 1 of 6 from 3 and 2 of 8 overall. That didn't help us out much. Cooper, clutch at the free throw line. Did have 4 assists. Actually kept it at 2 turnovers, so we had 0 second half turnovers. And did get 24 minutes, so he played quite a bit there. Houston with 4 turnovers. Reid with 5. Hyde with 3. Not one man, but Eric Reid with 5 turnovers and just 4 assists. He turned the ball over more than he provided assists for us. That's not every metric, but it's not a good sign. Starters doing what they needed to do. In fact, the whole team doing what they needed to do from free throws, outside of Williamson, who just terrible shooting today. First round matchup against the 5 seed Florida State Seminoles. I don't know what conference they're in particular, but I do know it's one of those top 4 conferences, as I think we have played them before or seen them come up before. They get a quick start on this one. It's 5-1, but we do convert that next field goal, maybe our second attempt or third attempt of the game thus far. I didn't get a scouting report this time, maybe because of the play-in game kind of threw it off. So without a scouting report, hard to say exactly what we are up against, but obviously we're against a much, much higher conference team, and I would figure that they should be fairly comfortable. And defensively, I think we've got a good, capable team, but it's been quite clear this season that our offense is very hit and miss, and will often shoot itself in the foot. Poor shooting, constant problem, and I don't see this game going particularly well. We have four turnovers already. Ball protection and general shooting are really the only two problems this team has this year. We do cut the gap a little bit as we make a couple three-pointers, cut into that lead, but trail by 4. They are number 17 in the country, by the way. I think we're far enough into the half. If they start to get some momentum, we'll definitely try to cut into that and use the timeout that the spare 30-second timeout that you get in the first half. They've got a little momentum, but not a lot. We converted the other end, cut back into the lead. They were up by 10 there momentarily, cut it to 8, but three-pointer there, and it's a 3-point game, and we failed to score. So if they score here, this would definitely be your use it, but they didn't score, but then we didn't. And then they score another 3, so this would be your time to use it, and I didn't get to the button in time. Use the timeout here. Did we cut into the momentum? Hard to say. We cut into it, but we didn't take it away. They still have some. Another missed 3. And there's a 3-pointer. That finally cut into it, but they answered with their own 3 to rebuild their momentum immediately. A minute to go in the half, and we trail by 16. Looks like we're going to get blown out here in the first round. Rebounding is going our way, +6, but they are shooting the ball so well, and we're not. And we have 15 turnovers. They've only committed 3 points in the paint. Totally dominant. We are getting just manhandled in every way. I wouldn't be surprised if Florida State's a Conference A or Conference B team. It might only be about a C, but they're certainly one of those higher teams, and it shows. It's showing big time here in this one. Nice little run to start the half. Cuts into the big lead a little bit, but then we couldn't even get the ball inside of the perimeter on that one. Their defense was so tight. Another turnover. Already up to 18. We've doubled theirs, though. I mean, it went from 3 in the first half to 6 now. 20-point deficit, though. We're playing well, and the lead is still growing, and fairly rapidly. The offense is the main problem. We've only managed 37 points. I mean, they're at a stage in the game where 55 is not crazy high, but 37 is pretty dang low. 85 points is a standard, or 75 to 85 points is a standard for a game, with 3/4 of it gone by. Now at 60, they're destined for just over 80 points for this game. But at 39, it's not looking so good for our offense. 11 of 34 from the field. The 3-pointers, we've made 5. So we've only had 6 2-point field goals in this game. There's your problem. There's your deficit. That and the turnovers. Same problems we've had all year long. We've been aware of them. We're going to finish the season being exposed big time by those flaws. But it is another trip to the NCAA tournament, our 6th in a row. Sadly, though, we only finish with, or stay at 3 conference championships, and boy, that was the easiest. That was the easiest conference championship we've faced, I think, since maybe the first year, where it's just total bottom feeders that had really no quality. As well as we've played the last 10 minutes, we still haven't cut into the gap. It was 20. It's 23 right now. So we've traded buckets quite a bit here for the last little while, but it's not enough. I mean, they've made 14 more field goals. They've attempted 16 more field goals. Our turnover deficit has gotten a little bit tighter. We're only -10, where it was a lot worse than that before. Rebounds is +8. We've made 2 3-pointers, 3 3-pointers more than they have. And we've done really well with free throws, 22 of 26. So there were good signs, and we did make a little run at the end of the game. It does appear that those are still starters on, at least a couple of them anyway. So they didn't just throw in their bench unit, garbage time. We cut the gap to 16 at the end, so we got a little run, but yeah, not enough. They were way too good for us, and we turned the ball over at ease. We struggled to shoot. Let's hope we can find some replacements for the coming season that, well, shoot a little bit better and protect the ball a little bit more. We will be needing a replacement at point guard for sure, as that's the one senior, I think the only senior in the line. I'll get the tournament results into the next episode. Reid, the graduating senior, just an 8.32 on the player impact. Houston, much better. Hyde, Lindquist, Alexander. So the weak link is the senior. That's a good sign for next season. Williamson, Cooper, good options off the bench, and I'm not sure any of those were seniors. In fact, other than walk-ons, the only senior on the roster is Reid, and I think we had 2 scholarships available. So I do think we had 1 available. Yes, we have 3 walk-ons on the squad. Generally, you have 2. So 2 scholarships available, but only 1 senior graduating, and it's Reid. And even though Reid somehow is labeled high, he had the toughest go of the season. He did not do well shooting. He turned the ball over a lot, and you can see, his handling is only a 44. His passing is only a 36. So he's actually fairly weak as far as point guards go. Just unfortunately, McMillian, who we gave a little bit more minutes to as the season went on, for one thing, nowhere near the defender, but 2, just he's not quite there himself, the redshirt sophomore. He's got to grow into it, so hopefully he'll get a bit of progression this offseason and step up in a better way, but we're definitely going to be looking at a point guard in the transfer portal without a doubt. That's going to do it for this one. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.